it with music, beautiful music. Hello, I'm Fred Miller, and this is yet another one of my lectures in song. This one, of course, about the great wordsmiths, the great lyricists. Before we launch into that, a little bit about me. I was born in Albuquerque, had a wonderful classical piano teacher. I loved the classics, I loved grand opera, all that stuff from a very early age. And that would go on through my, up to right literally to my 13th birthday. The day I turned into a teenager, the Beatles arrived in America. So my musical taste expanded to include the great rock songs of the 60s as well as the great classical music. And that would go on through high school until the summer after I graduated. A friend and I hitchhiked most of the way from New Mexico to the Woodstock Festival. Managed to show up very prominently in the poster as well. But that was it. I mean, I loved Woodstock and I loved the great rock music, but that was it for rock music. I think generally, it's really looked back, you can see it was the peak of the rock age. And I wasn't interested in being a rock musician. I didn't feel I was cut out to be a classical musician. I loved music. I knew that. I went to college very briefly, got a VW bug, tootled around the country, finally settled in Greenwich Village. And at some point, somebody gave me an album of Ella Fitzgerald singing Cole Porter. That was my music. Gershwin, Porter, Kern, Rogers, Berlin, Fred Astaire, Judy Garland, Ethel Merman, Frank Sinatra, Bing Crosby. What's now called the Great American Songbook. It became the stuff of which I've made my musical career, really, and my whole musical life. And came up with an idea of lecture and song, each one being a profile of a great personality or some aspect of American popular song. I started with 6 programs, all songwriters. I thought that was going to be it. But then I went on to performers and then holidays and then novelties and then geography and, 7 different categories. I now have 75 different lectures in song, each described in detail at fredmillermusic.com. This program is, I guess it's under songwriters, certainly, and it's not, it's about lyricists. I call it They Wrote the Words, Part 1. Some of the more prominent lyricists, like Lorenz Hart, has his own program with Richard Rodgers, Ira Gershwin and George Gershwin, a whole world unto itself, Johnny Mercer, Dorothy Fields, Alan J. Lerner. These people merited they are major, major figures. Another major figure has his own program, Yip Harburg. He described very nicely, in a way, what a song is, in a way, I guess. Without words, without lyrics, a melody is just a melody, and then you add the words and you've got a song. And he said the feelings are the music and the thoughts are the words, so you have maybe what a song is, a felt thought. Think about that. Whatever it is, it's miraculous, and it's just words fail me, lyrics fail me. Anyway, we're going to talk about some of the lyricists who are not as famous and maybe were not as prolific as those others mentioned. We're going to start with Otto Harbach, who was a lyricist and a librettist. The librettist being, of course, the playwright who wrote musical plays, created the structure, on which a musical is based, is built. And of course, the lyrics go with the songs, make songs and not just melodies. Chronologically, Harbach, originally it's Hauerbach. If you look at his sheet music, it says Hauerbach. Born in 1873. This is before Kern or even Irving Berlin, well before them. 1873 in Salt Lake City, lived on for 90 years till 1963. His early career was as an English professor at Columbia, obviously interested in words and lyrics and literature anyway. Was a columnist and an ad copywriter. And then in 1908, his first notable achievement in the musical theater, teamed up with Karl Hoschna in Three Twins. Cuddle up a little closer, lovey mine. Cuddle up and be my little clinging vine. Like to feel your cheeks so rosy, like to make you comfy cozy, 'cause I love your head to toesy, lovey mine. 1910, Madame Cherie. Every little movement has a meaning of its own. every thought and feeling by some posture to be shown, and every love thought that comes to stealing o'er your being must be revealing all its sweetness in some appealing little gesture of its own. 1912, hired by the Hammerstein Organization, teamed up with Rudolf Rimmel for an operetta for prima donna Emma Trentini called The Firefly. Love is like a firefly that glimmers by and dies while it is gleaming. Love is just a passerby, a little passerby firefly riding high in the sky. So when in my twinkling eye you see a tender love light brightly beaming, why not try to kiss me while you may before I say goodbye? He was a charter member, founder of ASCAP, 1914. Later was the president of ASCAP, going back to up to the 1950s. That, of course, is the money gathering, the royalty gathering organization for creative people. His link with the Hammerstein Organization would bring him in contact with young Oscar Hammerstein II, 20 years younger than he, and it would become a partnership. And Hammerstein, who, as we all know now, of course, became, well, Oscar Hammerstein. He said he was born with two golden spoons in his mouth, certainly for the start of his career. One was having his Uncle Arthur, who hired him in the Hammerstein Organization, and having Otto Harbach as his mentor, working with him. He writes very lavishly about Harbach here. Hammerstein does. From the very start, our relationship was that of two collaborators on an equal footing. His generosity in dividing credits and royalties equally with me was the least of his favors. Much more important were the things he taught me about writing for the theater. Otto is a born teacher and the best play analyst I've ever met. He taught me most of the precepts I have worked by, and let me record, he is the kindest, most tolerant, and wisest man I have ever met. I think he liked and respected him. This is from the man who wrote Carmen Jones and Showboat, and, of course, Oklahoma Carousel, South Pacific, The King and I, Sound of Music. One thing he learned from